So we'll get a wheel and everybody will be plotted.
Right.
Plus there'll be a team report and everybody's plotted. So you can look at each other and where they fit compared to them. Then we look at driving forces, and as I talked, there's 12 driving forces. Driving forces is how we do things. So we want to focus on the primary driving forces within the team, and then I'm going to skip down. We can find a wheel and plot everybody.
And there's a bunch of work that we can do before we go over to do like actual activities. Because for the team development activities, you might send someone like Alice or someone down to do the actual team development. Unless you want to go down, Dave. I know you're not super always excited about traveling. So.
Well, to be honest, this is a perfect fit for me to be on site with the team.
Okay, perfect. That sounds
absolutely,
great.
Absolutely. Team building is.
But we can do the assessments before we go over, right?
Yep.
And then people can get an idea of their assessments and kind of their team report before we go over. Then we know how to design a session for them.
I know how to design the session. It's I can give you more detail if you like, but basically what I do is everybody does the assessment plus sends me a note on what are the strengths of the team, what needs to be improved individually, anonymously, confidentially, and then I prepare a summary, and that's what we focus on. What do we have to work on as a team and create an action plan? That's my process.
That's awesome.
Just
okay,
for,
so
a little bit of context with our discussion with Lorenzo didn't start really with this. It started more with the strategic thinking and strategic planning for the coming year. But then they realized they needed to take a step back because of all the new people on the team, that they needed to have a team building exercise before they can do it.
How big is the team, by the way?
It's a management team there, so I would say it's anywhere between maybe 5 and 10 people, somewhere there.
Okay. Yep. So that's nice, small. We can really get at some stuff. Nobody can hide.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'll send you a sample of this assessment, Neha, if I haven't already, and Luke.
Yeah, I think we've seen one.
I think you've sent it, and I've sent it to Lorenzo, but he's a very busy guy, so.
The one I prefer, though, is the emotional quotient, where we look at the most important part of the exercise to me is how we deal with emotions, how we deal with stress as a team and individually. So that's the emotional quotient, and there's the essence of it. This is how self-awareness, self-regulation, and self-motivation is all about me and how I deal with negative stuff. Empathy and social skills is how I interact with the rest of the team. And what's it, and understanding each other beyond, what do we tend to do with all of these things? That's the nature of the.
Is that separate from the other 2 wheels, or is it a result of the 2 wheels?
No, it's a separate section. But it's just part of my team building, so we understand when we're under stress. Let's say, for example, here's a good example. D's and I's, extroverted styles, wear their emotions on their sleeve. You can tell when they're upset. See it? And the lid comes off when it needs to. S's and C's, you can't tell. They're quiet, they're introverted style. And so you can't always tell. And finally, after 3 weeks of putting up with something, the lid comes off, and where the heck's that coming from? And so these folks need to know how to vent, but these folks need to recognize that they need to vent, and they need to have some forum as a team where we talk, hey, what the heck do we need to, let's talk about what's frustrating us, guys. Let's get it done, because a lot of your team will be like that. 50% of Canadians are like that. Actually, correct me, 75% of Canadians are like that.
Yes.
Neha and I are like this.
Yes, we are.
Because I've measured it.
Yeah.
So if that makes sense, I can send you a sample of this, and I can send you a sample of a team report, which is both, the team report doesn't use emotional quotient. I use that because I prefer to use emotional intelligence in any effective training that I do, because it's changed my life and it changes other people's lives. It just makes such a difference. So this would be a much more positive environment, no matter what, even if the wall fell down or whatever. They'll deal with the stress better individually and as a team.